What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to another chess video. This is me, JK Jax, back at it again. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to play the carokann part 3. The second part of the carokann was made 11 months ago, so I cannot leave you guys hanging with unfinished business. I need to complete what I started, okay? So for the next few videos, I'm gonna dedicate myself to complete the carokann course and then just leave it as that. Now, the reason why I'm not playing the carokann anymore is because it doesn't fit my playstyle. But for those out there who find the carokann fun to play, feel free to continue playing. It's still a very good opening. So let's get right into it. So, e4, c6, d4, d5. I will also make an updated video on the carokann in the future because I did show you guys how to play the tall variation, one of the most dangerous ways to play against the carokann. So in the future you might expect some anti-tall variation theory, but we'll get to that. For now, let's talk about the pan-off variation. The second part of the video, we talked about the mainline exchange, which is bishop d3. In today's video is about c4. So c4 is a little bit similar to the queen's gambit, right? c4, and if you take, you allow your opponent to develop. So something similar to that. You don't really want to take this pawn just yet. What you want to do instead is to just continue developing your pieces with knight to f6. And the most natural move by your opponent is knight to c3, right? Putting more pressure on the pawn on d5. Your pawn is now sufficiently defended by your knight, by your queen. So what you should do next is to just continue developing normally with knight to c6. And now here your opponent has two moves, or maybe three. Your opponent has three moves: knight f3, bishop to g5, and simply taking the pawn. Let's talk about the most simplest variation, taking the pawn in the center. C takes d5. Here you just recapture back calmly with knight takes d5, and the most common move I see is knight f3. Here it's very common sense, just play bishop g4, developing your bishop and pinning the knight, and your threat is to take the knight followed by taking this pawn. Your opponent will play something like h3. You can choose to trade, you can also choose to retreat. Both are fine. Easiest way to play is to just chop it off, and after they take, you play something like e6, very solid. And then your bishop will always come out to b4 anytime it wants, and you have a very nice game to play. Take note that you don't really have to worry about knight takes d5 because you have a nice in-between move. Knight takes d4. The queen is hit, the knight is hit, and now let's say the queen comes to e4. Now you get a trade, and black is up a pawn. Black is winning. Now look at this. You also have a fork on c2 incoming, which he needs to stop by playing bishop to d3. But by then, you already have a very fantastic position and a very easy position to play as black. So let's come back. So this will be generally roughly how you play against c takes d4. Very easy to play, nothing too complex here. The only other variation you kind of need to take note is bishop to c4, but even this, just play e6, and once again bishop to b4. This bishop might want to go to either b6. This bishop might either want to go to d7, or it can consider holding out here on c8 first. In the future, you could maybe consider putting your bishop on b7. Nothing to rush about this light square bishop here. I think just get more of your main pieces out of the way first, then you think to yourself where you put this light square bishop later. Generally, it wants to be on b7 because the light square bishop has left its starting square. This means that this diagonal is a target, a viable target for you to take note and just exploit. So that will be generally how you play against c takes d5. The next move is knight f3. Again, knight f3, whenever your knight goes to f3, you always play bishop g4. Very common thematic move in the carokann, just chucking this bishop out and soon possibly to even trade. Now your opponent will either most likely play bishop to e3, I have seen bishop g5 before. Not a bad move by any chance, but it's a positional mistake due to knight to e4. And look at this. Look at your position. Now, it looks like you've hung this pawn, but knight takes g5. And, well, if they take this knight, feel free to take back with the pawn. Your opponent cannot recapture back this knight, right, because they'll lose the queen. So they have to try to unpin themselves. You can trade all the way, and then play rook c8. And to me, I think this is a pretty drawish endgame. I mean, carokann is generally quite drawish, but I would say that this is a bit of a more simpler position for black to equalize, because you have easy moves like e6 and c5. You can expand on the queen side with also queen b6, bishop d6, and castle. You see how natural your pieces move. Whereas if you look at white's position, his position is also not bad, to say the least. There are ideas of him castling, putting his rooks on the e-file, and then expanding on the queen side. Generally, it's more so a battle on the queen side, not really much on the king side. But you can see that both sides have a very easy game to play and a very easy time to draw. So if you want to draw against strong players, carokann is a good drawing weapon. So that will be it against bishop to g5. If they play something unambitious and passive, finish your development with e6, bring out your bishop to e7, and then just castle. Very simple to play here. Rook c8, and expand on the queen side. Maybe potentially you may consider queen to b6. And now one more variation. What if they play bishop to g5? Well, against bishop to g5, now you can see that the opponent has a lot of pressure on d5 now. Your opponent's next move is to chop away this knight and remove the defense of the pawn on d5. And so here, the best move, shockingly, is to take the pawn. Well, because let's say if you play something like e6, this is actually a little bit of an inaccuracy. Now the opponent knight comes in, and even though this position is still okay to play for black, I would say that black has a little bit of a harder time trying to patch up his weaknesses. Now white has a clear target and clear plan what he's aiming for. He's definitely going to be trying to put as much pressure on d5 as much as possible, even thinking to chop away the bishop just for the sake of winning the pawn on d5. And this can be a little bit risky to play. Of course, it is completely holdable with bishop to b4, but why torment yourself when there's an easier way to play? And that easier way to play is to just take the pawn. Right, so you take the pawn, the opponent would definitely take back, and then you play e6, very easy to play. So now d5 is now under your control. It's no longer a target. There are no pawns there to harass you or whatever. Completely fine position to play. Knight f3, bishop to e7, and my friends, I think this is a very easy position to play. Castles, and I would say that black has a good game here. Just very drawish, but black has easier time playing this position for sure. Moves like queen c7 or queen b6 comes to mind, putting pressure on d4, followed by rook d8. But you also trying to find a place to put this light square bishop. This is your only liability in the position, just finding a good square for this light square bishop. If you can get this light square bishop to trade itself or something, black will be doing amazing here. So you could consider, even weirdly enough, a5, b6, bishop a6, or b6, bishop b7, just giving your light square bishop a purpose, and then just putting as much pressure on d4 as much as possible. So I think that pretty much wraps up the carokann defense in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.